So I'm walking over to the UDF to get a Coca-Cola. Some of you might not know that down south, the generic term for a soda pop is Coke, whereas y'all might just say pop here in the Midwest. Down there is Coke. So if you say to somebody, hey, do you want a Coke? They'll say, yeah, give me a Sprite, or give me a Dr. Pepper, or something like that. Coke is the general term. If you want something specific, you say what that is, or you say, give me a Coca-Cola. That is short for Coca-Cola, or in my case, a Coke Zero. However, that's not the real reason that I'm shooting this video while walking. I'm shooting this video while walking because we're hitting chapter 9 of the Gospel according to Luke. And in chapter 9, we begin the travel narrative.
Chapter 9 is a big old thick chapter. Tons of things happen in this chapter. Jesus sends out the 12 to do ministry stuff. They do, it works out well, they come back. Herod is starting to get in the picture, and that doesn't bode well. And then the Transfiguration happens. Jesus goes up on a mountain and with James, John, and Peter, James, and John. And then he comes back, and there's a healing, and all this stuff happens. All these teachings happen as well. But I want to focus on verse 51. In verse 51, it says, when the days draw near for him to be taken up, he set his face to go to Jerusalem. Now that's the NRSV translation. Different translations do that differently. The translation that sticks out in my head says, he steadfastly set his face to go to Jerusalem. Puts even more emphasis on it. A lot of translations, like the NRSV, will even put a space between verse 50 and verse 51 because something is happening here in the way the story is told. There's a narrative shift. It starts what people call the travel narrative. That's the middle third of the Gospel of Luke. We could think of, there's the beginning with the birth narrative and the beginning of the ministry. There's the travel narrative in the middle, and then the passion story at the end. And we'll be getting to that soon. But this travel narrative is when Jesus starts, he steadfastly faces to Jerusalem, not only the place, but what will happen there. Now you might say, well, Jesus has been traveling all over the place already. He's gone to Nain, he's gone to Capernaum, he's gone to Gennesaret, he's gone to all these different places. He's been in cities, he's been in fields, he's been walking and traveling. Why is this called the travel narrative? And it's because from this point on, Jesus is headed to Jerusalem, and that journey to Jerusalem is the only thing that matters. He's not distracted by other places. He is pointed towards Jerusalem, what will happen there. In fact, check me on this, okay? Take a look and see from here on out, aside from Jerusalem, how many times cities are mentioned. After this point, after verse 51 in chapter 9, how many times and in what ways are cities mentioned besides Jerusalem after this point, compared to all these other different places and all these different directions that Jesus has been going to? The author of Luke is focusing the story by focusing Jesus toward one place and the events that happened there. And so that colors how we read from verse 51 on through the rest of the book, and especially this next middle third. Tomorrow we get into chapter 10, and yeah, that's some fun stuff. So we'll see you then. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We really hope you are enjoying these reflections on the Gospel of Luke. Stay tuned, as we're going to have some special guests joining us soon as we continue this chapter by chapter journey towards Christmas through this season of Advent with the Gospel of Luke. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button down below. Also, hit that thumbs up. That really helps out the video and increases our circulation and our proclamation of the gospel. And hit the bell. That way you're notified and you can stay on top of this devotional journey through the Gospel of Luke. Again, we hope you are enjoying these reflections, and we hope that you remember that no matter what, God loves you more than you can possibly imagine.